Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Before we get into the explanation of the fire, let's understand what the fire is. It's the marshaling force of God, the purging force, the fiery judgment of God, the fiery wrath. Jesus said he came to bring a sword to divide. Okay? The sword is like a fiery sword. It's the essence of the fire. The essence of the essence is God, right? God is the essence of the sword, and the sword, in a sense, is the essence of the fire, right? It's like a surgical fire that those who have the armor of God, can exist in, and those who don't are burned off and burned forever, because the soul is immortal, but it will be given no way back. Okay, and this is key, right? The sword is also can be seen like an arrowhead, right? It points the way, right? Something you can point the way and say over there, right? It's a symbol of loyalty, devotion. It's a symbol of being a noble. The sharp double-edged sword in the top martial arts is a symbol of his excellence. I mean, there's so many things there. Okay, now let's try to understand it in terms of an unruly woman, right? In Proverbs it says folly is an unruly woman. Okay, she multiplies the unfaithful among men. Okay, so why is it my right to apply the fire and the sword of God, so to speak, right? Figuratively speaking, to flog an adult female who's doing the wrong thing. I'm going to give you 5 very potent points. I have like 25 of them. I chose 5 of them for this video. Okay, I'm going to make a playlist in the future about it because it's so important. Now, keep in mind that nobody after I die will be authorized to flog females. I have no intention of flogging any female, okay? Not even if they submit and they say it's okay, I have no intention under any circumstances to flog anybody, literally. But this is a good example of why God has a fire, what the fire is. This is gonna help you understand the essence of fire, why fire and a sword is chosen. What is fire used for? Purifying, right? Forging a sword, okay, etc. The sword, in a sense, exists in the fire in that it's what's forged from the fire. There's a lot we can get from it. Let's go ahead and look at these 5 points. First point: the righteous one in reality. The righteous one in reality, and not propaganda, white supremacy, or theater arts, etc., has a universally morally precise right, aka a truly divine right. Universally morally precise is divine. Has a universally morally precise right, aka a truly divine right, to order the flogging of an adult female. All true justice starts with first doing me. Justice is God is only found in me. Why? Because I'm the gate. Okay, the principles of doing the right thing start by doing the most righteous guy justice. You say that person's in charge. Okay, he has the most logical argument as to why he should be in charge in terms of moral worth. He's the most moral person, right? The sun rises in the sky, not a speck of sand on the beach. Can a speck of sand say to the sun, hey, why are you rising in the sky and not me? It's not fair that they revere you and not me. Okay? No. There's something to be said about a speck of sand, but it's not the sun. And the sun needs its place to do its thing. So in order to convey justice from the realm of principle, and for those of you who are religious, from God Almighty, you first must give me, the most righteous person, as proven through martial arts, focus, moral intensity, proven through my deeds and my character and my arguments. Okay, focus, moral intensity, and universal pinpointing moral precision that creates focus, moral intensity that allows for one to be better at sparring. The reason why a king wears a sword. Okay? You first must do me justice. Okay? Righteousness is godliness, which is holiness, and the state of being just. Cowards try to take credit and tell me what to do, which is the pinnacle of patheticness and injustice. I suggest you start the video over and listen to it again and make sure you know exactly what I'm saying. The righteous call is the right call. This may include advisors. They should be present, but my judgment is the destined and divine one regardless. So part of being a righteous person says, hey, I want a bunch of advisors to help me judge this matter, to judge precisely what we should do. Okay, to scrutinize things, and we kind of review ideas, kind of rough draft, brainstorm to help me through the process, to make sure that it is as pinpointed as possible, as sharp as possible. But it is my divine place, not anyone else's. Because just like God made the sun, just like nature, if you're not religious, made the sun to do its job, I need to do my job in my rightful place, or all society, their families, their offspring suffer because of the domino effect. What happens if you don't do it the only way it works? Then everyone suffers various forms of injustice and the accompanying problems that occur. There's no other way to possibly look at it and be sane. No way. So the righteous call is the right call. The top martial artist, thus the sword and pointing the way in a martial spirit. Also, I alone have the heart and moral high ground over other humans to accept correction from God or the realm of principle if you're not religious. Okay? The idea of principle, it's a realm, so to speak, and truly apply it. You see how if you're agnostic, even if you're atheist, you should see I'm right. There shouldn't be a single religion that doesn't see I'm right, a single philosophy, ideology, school of thought. They should all know that I'm right. When their nonsense comes into contact with this argument, you should immediately see I'm right and they're wrong. That sword has been divided. Are you going to live the way, the truth, and the life? Or are you going to pretend that this argument is just wishful thinking or something? So again, when we're talking about whether or not it's okay to apply the punishment and correction from God Almighty, or the source of righteousness for those of you who aren't religious, it comes from somewhere, right? Then we must understand what is justice and what isn't. And it starts with, it's my call. It's not all the pirates in the world put together. If everyone in the world wanted to eat a child and they all say, well, it's a world democracy, are they right? No. They want to eat a child for no reason. They're wrong. I'm right. It is my call. I know best. Moral clarity is mental clarity. Moral, mental, spiritual, and romantic. That also means in matters of romance. That's why martial is marital scrambled. In matters of romance. It is my call. Not every female that ever lived put together. Not every female alive right now put together. It is my call. Because you people make bad calls every day. And you haven't proven that you have the mental clarity to make a call over something as important as romantic relations. Some cultures they have arranged marriages. Some cultures they have rock and roll orgies. Some cultures they have sex cults. Some cultures they have white supremacy churches. None of you have ever, in the history of your lives, proven for a moment that you have the maturity and the mental clarity and the devotion to morality to make the call here. It is my call, and you're stealing that call from me. And those who do not accept that truth should be flogged to death. That's what's fair and right and just. It's too late in the game to be so stupid. And this is why God made it so that it ends after I die. Because what is worse than being flogged to death? Living a life of sin and then going to hell forever with those sins that you wouldn't have done if someone had flogged you to death before you kept sinning. And for those of you who live a foolish life where you don't believe in God, think about it in terms of think about the agnostic translation of that. That you will live a pathetic, sinful, cowardly, dumb, lemming, vampire bitch life, which could have been cut short by the most righteous person, using a universal scale, which one doesn't necessarily need to believe in God to have. Again, start from this point over and watch it again. Make sure you understand what I'm saying, to appreciate, to sense, to appreciate. Point number 2. Those in the rape by deception spirit, which is in them because of their position in the spectrum of selfishness, should be flogged. Bear with me. The devil is known as a horny devil. A what? A horny devil. And the deceiver. And what? And the deceiver. The devil is known as a horny devil and the deceiver. The devil is also known as a pansexual, pan meaning all. unnatural, sex addict, a gay, a bisexual, LGBT, what have you. Also, people who do not obey God through me are a stumbling block and an adversary. We see things in the Bible like blows, purge the inmost being, spare the rod, spoil the child, things of this nature. One who's slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. Whoever doesn't gather with me scatters, what have you. So when we look at a female, let's say there's some female, let's say some cocky, attractive chick who's a model, and I tie her to a chair, okay, and I explain to her, this is why I'm going to flog you, okay, because you are like a maniac shooting arrows at random, right? Cupid is depicted with a bow and arrow, but you're her and hurt, charm and harm, her hurt and heart, right? It's rhyme and reason, it's wordplay and reason. That's why you hurt people unfairly with your pathetic scale, and you say, I have sovereignty, okay? And you cause all kinds of destruction. How do you think we got in this mess where the world is so evil in the first place? It was a bunch of cowardly scum raising foolish chicks who say, I have sovereignty because my dad said so, and he's a dumb bitch too. That's how we got in this mess. Doubt it not. And it was a bunch of bitch-ass Leonard inbred pieces of shit talking about, well, that's just the liberals, not us, who led the charge. They were using your white supremacist scale and the white supremacist controlled opposition scale that comes from being a fucking idiot who won't stand for what's right, but only stands for what their emotions and their selfishness is telling them to. Which leads me to point 3. Prioritization. Prioritization. Say it with me. Prioritization. A real woman knows that putting the divine man who is by default in God's true spirit, not LGBT supremacy, not white supremacy, not Jewish supremacy, not token minority supremacy, not black, white, Arab, Hispanic, not any flesh-based supremacy, not propaganda, psychology, or theater arts, but the true Spirit of God, which is the spirit of universal pinpointed moral precision first. And a real woman knows that putting the divine man who by default is in God's true spirit first is vital for God, society, her family, and her femininity. And if you're an agnostic, you know that a real woman knows that putting the morally precise, focused, and morally intense man who by default is in God's, is in the true spirit of righteousness is vital for righteousness in general, society, her family, and her femininity. You see how the two line up. So if somebody's tied to a hot chick is tied to a flogging post for how she's been using her pussy power to bring down the fucking world, okay? And I'm about to flog her, both the agnostic and the monotheistic should agree. Or tie him up next to her. This is 1 + 1 = 2. This is not complex. This is not calculus. As soon as you hear it explained this way, you know that I'm right. So if you say, no, I want evil to reign, tie the motherfucker up next to the bitch. What is there not to get? Point number 4. A moral struggle against rape by deception. If a person were to live in reality and consider these points, they would see the righteous man with sound moral principles, arguing with the groups who are aligned to mass murder, mass rape, and other evil ways and paths. Because that's what happens when you don't have a moral order. The things you see in the world exist. You spare the rod, spoil the planet, rot the planet. That's what happens when you don't have the true order of God. You have some kind of manifest destiny English bullshit. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, Freemasonry. Yes, Club of Rome. Yes, we're from the Romans. They spread into England and all that bullshit we see going on. They are arguing over who should get, lead, and date, etc. The attractive females who have bad judgment that need the righteous order to help them have good judgment. They may as well be a large group of evil psychologists tricking countless drunk females into being their sex slaves while offering them a boot-licking dumb bitches pittance that they're too stupid not to take because these fools have bred them to be that way, them and their forefathers and mothers and pathetic ancestors. There's no other way to look at it. Last point, brain function and romantic justice. Neural pathways, neuroplasticity, and brain wiring. To make a long story short, the word weird is wired, scrambled for a reason. Demon is odd men for a reason. They're not pinpointed. You can't compare. Even if I was wearing clothes with holes in them, I'm the top martial artist. I'm the righteous man in the form you'd expect, just like Jesus in popular culture, minus the white devil image. Okay, some kind of simple clothes, rags, because they're trying to keep me from showing them up. because it's a rape by deception construct, and anyone who helps uphold it, especially an attractive female, my goodness, should be flogged thoroughly. Thank you.